Welcome to Astro Love Painter. If you are new to this channel, and I would like to welcome you back to those dedicated to expanding your knowledge in astrology. This channel is designed to teach you and walk you through each full and new moon. I usually do zodiac sign-centric horoscopes, but this month I am covering so much information that we will be foregoing that modality in October. I encourage our listeners to have a printed copy of your natal chart so that you can make notes of the transiting energies and learn how to find these aspects in your own chart, as well as learning about the collective consciousness evolutionary process. If you don't already know how to get your own chart, please pause the video and watch my tutorial, How to Get Your Natal Chart. It will also explain what I mean when I say zodiac sign-centric horoscopes. So for the month of October, I'm going to begin by talking about how this generation has been dealing with the Pluto-Uranus square since around May of 2012 through 2015. This is when we had a wider orb of 5 degrees. Personally, this is when my spiritual awakening began, and Uranus was conjunct my Aries moon in the 8th house, and when I began to lean towards astrology. My life has never been the same since. I had a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack, also called a mini stroke. I left the racetrack that I was promoting, and all of this was preempted by my request to Spirit for my gifts and my eyes to be opened again. I had closed all of those amazing psychic superpowers down because as a child they frightened me so much and I did not understand them. What was going on with you back in May through August of 2012? Or even the latter parts of 2011? This aspect has been happening in the cardinal signs of Capricorn and Aries. The last exact square between Pluto and Uranus was at 15 degrees in 2015. Cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. In the zodiac, these are the houses of change. In a personal horoscope, where the zodiac shifts depending on the hour, time, and location of birth, we look to see if there are any planets at these points, which are the angular planets, or angular points in your chart, because greater emphasis is then placed on that particular planet. So, if you remember, when I did a report on the Leo solar eclipse, this is similar to how the eclipse point becomes a degree in the chart that gets re-energized each time a planet crosses it. This happens to a point in the chart when the outer planets make a hard aspect, such as a conjunction, a square, or opposition. So anytime a planet moves through the 15th degree of Libra, it is getting reactivated, just like that eclipse point. So we are in the final stages that our generation will experience the Uranus-Pluto square. Why is this important? Every person on this planet is part of the evolutionary process and elevation of the collective consciousness. So in this aspect, Pluto acts similar to the North Node and South Node in your natal chart. The South Node represents the coping mechanisms that are imprinted subconsciously at an early age by your parents, the social consciousness of your close environment, and that on a global scale. If you believe in reincarnation, then these are the imprints and lessons that you brought into this current life. The North Node is where your soul purpose lies and your higher consciousness. It calls you towards expansion, and it can feel frightening at times because it represents your uncharted waters. Within the constructs of the Pluto archetype, lies the choice. Follow the fear of the masses or rise like the phoenix and take the bird's eye view. So let's recap what this Pluto-Uranus square is doing in the collective consciousness or globally. Pluto represents psychology, psychoanalysis, deep esoteric studies, the occult, secrets being brought to the surface, sex, power, research, manipulation, conspiracy theories, deeply hidden subconscious memories, intuition, merging, obsession, and that deep, deep bond with another where you become one. I think you get the idea. So Uranus is the great disruptor, mad scientist energy, electricity, technology, internet, the tower card energy. It's also been called the awakener. It brings sudden insights, flashes of light. It's the modern ruler of Aquarius, which is the archetype that holds the collective consciousness. It is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury is the only demigod that could travel between Earth and the heavens, as he is the messenger. When these two get together in a square from an evolutionary standpoint, Pluto wants to transform. And in Capricorn, that means transforming patriarchal, outdated structures of humanity in money, stock market, governments, diplomacies. So you see, Uranus is there to break away the hardened shells created out of fear of change, and in such a way that can be shocking and very sudden. Change is so severe that there is no going back. The archetype of such structures is Saturn. In 2011, Saturn was in Libra, making a T-square to the newly forming Pluto-Uranus square. By 2012, when the Pluto-Uranus square was strong and in its beginning stages, Saturn moved into Scorpio, which is the ruler of Pluto. So this is actually continuing the evolutionary process of the Pluto-Uranus conjunction in the mid-60s. Think Nixon, his resignation, Watergate, equality, sit-ins, freedom rides, the burning of the flag, feminism, demanding rights to equal opportunity in the job place. Feel free to go do more research on that. Because of the length of the content this month and the focus I will be putting upon the Pluto-Uranus square in the coming months, I will be giving you the degrees to look for in your own charts. I encourage and call to me those who are ready to do the inner work. There is this fancy term, light workers, which really isn't a select few, but are the chosen only because they choose to be. I come from 35 years of different religious backgrounds with in-depth knowledge of scripture. This is the rapture. Of course, that is only my belief system and faith. I encourage you to find yours. It is the transmuting of the collective consciousness fear. The Pluto and Scorpio generation is preparing for this ascension, and we are in the midst of amazing global change. So go ahead and make sure you have your chart ready. If you don't know how to get it, as I stated at the beginning of the video, I have created a tutorial on my YouTube channel, Astrolove Painter. You will need to watch how to get your natal chart. I encourage you to print a new one each month so you can make note on the chart when I point out specific degrees. And it might even be better if you print one for the full moon and the new moon. So beginning with the Pluto-Uranus square, see where 15 degrees of Capricorn is in your chart, and if you have any planets or house angles between 12 and 18 degrees. Pluto is where you are transforming. Then you look at 27 degrees Aries. If you have any planets or house singles between 24 and 30 degrees of Aries, then this is Uranus and where your world is being awakened in a very startling way. You are being called to stand out as an individual. These could just be sudden awakenings. They could be insights that you're getting, realizations and revelations. Now, today, October 5th, at 11:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the moon sits in Aries at 13 degrees. This is our full moon. Pay attention, because remember, this is a midpoint of the cardinal signs, and it's in opposition to the active midpoint of the sun in Libra. All four cardinal signs are being activated on this powerful moon, creating a very dynamic T-square to Pluto and Capricorn. This is also in the collective second, fourth, and 10th houses. On a global scale, this is going to be around money, home, security, and government. It's really going to be hitting close to home. Your personal natal chart will show how it is affecting you within your close environment. So when there is a T-square, it creates a lot of tension. And in order to release that tension and instability, we look for emphasis on a fourth leg, which is at the midpoint of Cancer. The other cardinal sign, also go ahead and see if you have any planets there between 13 and 18 degrees of Cancer. If you do, you might want to book a session and get more clarity on how to work with this. So full moons are the culminations of intentions that were set on its new moon, which would have been on March 27th. Jupiter will be in Libra until October 11th. This is just 8 days before the new moon in Libra, and Jupiter is a planet of expansion and knowledge. It is a benefic planet and blesses with gifts before it shifts into the next sign, which will be Scorpio. On this full moon, it will be at the 29th degree. So today is a great day of expansion and joy and optimism. And you may be blessed with someone in your life that will be a great teacher to you. The new moon in Libra will be on October 19th at 27 degrees, which puts it exactly opposite Uranus at 27 of Aries at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This new moon is part of a stellium, which is 3 or more planets in one sign or house. Mercury is conjunct Jupiter in Scorpio at 2 and 4 degrees. These four are in the collective 10th house, more emphasis on government. This tells me on a global scale there is going to be very serious investigations at hand within the governmental system or systems. You will see this playing out over the next 6 months. The Pluto-Uranus square is blowing something wide open as Uranus sits in the collective's 4th house, which represents the roots and stability being totally shaken. Pluto is in the 1st house at 17 degrees. Remember that this plays out differently in your personal natal charts. So Jupiter will be at 2 degrees of Scorpio on this new moon. So wherever 2 degrees of Scorpio lies in your chart, this will be a place of great expansion in your life. If you locate planets at any of these degrees and desire further insight, you can book an appointment on my website. All the links are below in the description box. Subscribe, like, and share this video to spread the love and awareness. And I want to leave you on this note of a deeply personal look into my world. This Pluto-Uranus square is aspecting my belief systems around religion and culture and knowledge, which is 9th house matters. as well as my creative expression, romantic life, and my children, which are fifth house matters. The Libra midpoint is in my third house of communication. So here's how I am transforming. My children, whether they be my own flesh or those within the family of friends I have created, are of many different faiths: pagan, Christian, Judaism, Messianic, Catholicism, science of mind, atheism, even agnostic, Buddhism. So I support each of them in their celebrations to foster a compassion towards inclusivity. There is only separation if you hold your attention upon it. There is no need to build bridges because there is no gap. Only in your perception of it will it remain the only thing you see. I trust that this video in particular reaches each and every one of your higher callings. I know that even if you are hesitant, the seed has been planted and you are ready for the shift. It is all in Spirit's own perfect time. Today, I am in the second day of the celebration of Sukkot, which is a Jewish holiday also shared among some Christians in the Messianic community. It is also known as the Feast of Tabernacles. It is also the feast of Francis of Assisi. So for 7 days, there is a great global allowing and receiving of blessings and the wedding of all humanity to the Great Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, Yeshua, Allah, God, Holy Spirit, universe. It is not because that power is not always with us, but when we look through the eyes of each blessed, sacred human force, they are all looking up and inward into the eyes of the same co-creative force that calls each of us to play with it. Love and light always. Namaste.